Alrighty, folks, get ready. The wave of AI agents is just starting. This thing is still growing. This will be a tsunami. But we've got to ask ourselves what makes the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because again, I think there will be a tsunami of AI agents, but only a few will be worth the time of day. Dana, this is a part of the world where you are very versed, and I'm sure get pitched the idea of, hey, use this, use that. But what say you? What makes something good, bad, or indifferent as far as this wave of AI agents?
Yeah. So what I think we can all agree on right now is AI is probably the most exciting technology that we have seen since the internet. It is developing so quickly. There's also concerns with it, right? Of like, how big can it get? Is it going to create a disease that's going to kill everyone, or all of these kind of crazy theories out there. But there's been a ton of money in AI, right? And part of the reason, if you look back to that before we go into AI agents, but the points are sorted together, is that the reason AI has so much money in it and so much venture capital is because it's replacing human labor. So it used to be that, hey, here is something you can use to make your life easier, more efficient, more effective. Now, these AI companies are saying, great, we can charge below the rate of what labor would cost, but give you better, like the best junior engineer you've ever had. That is what our AI is going to do. And that is why they're getting such high valuations, because the alternative is human labor, which is, if you look at any P&L, any business, that's usually the largest line item on it is headcount, which is why your people are so important.
It's funny you bring this up, because again, this goes back to my software sales days. And the analogy I've always tried to get people to understand, because I had to deal with marketing, go to market, even CEOs and presidents. And I'm like, at the end of the day, folks, what are we selling? Are we selling vitamins, or are we selling aspirin? And it really all comes down to that to me. And what does that mean in this context? Right? Vitamins are that thing that you take every day and you're promised some super good in the future. That is not an easy sell, right? It's not something that early adopters look at. Lots of people poo-poo vitamins. And again, I'm not making a case on vitamins. It's just an example. But aspirin, specific pain, specific solution. And you're absolutely right. The easiest thing to sell is hard dollar savings, not soft dollar. Soft dollar, oh, I'm going to make you more efficient. Oh, I'm going to make it, more click-through rate. Oh, blah, 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 blah. No, I am going to replace bodies. I am going to go into your HR, organization, which has 1,712 people, and you're going to get it done with 20. Right? Something like that. It's going to be massive. That's what AI is. AI is, hydrocodone or Vicodin or whatever for headaches, right? Just it's overkill. And this is why it has all the money. But frankly, it's also why a lot of money is going to zero, because a lot of these solutions aren't going to go anywhere. Right?
Aren't going to go anywhere. I love the vitamin and aspirin example. I'm gonna use that more frequently there.
There you go.
I think every landlord out there, and property managers as well, they get in their inbox, I can give you a virtual assistant agent, an AI agent as your virtual assistant. I can get you an assistant to do your maintenance requests. I can get you an assistant to do your leasing. And I hear this time and time again from all of these kind of inbound requests we get. We get requests for meetings with these companies. And I'm actually just quite honestly exhausted, because we used to take those meetings because I was like, you know what, maybe there's something we'll learn from them. So I just want to see if I'm going to learn something. I want to open up my mind. And I think what it comes down to is most of them are just a Chat GPT plugin, right? They're just plugging into that. And so what makes an AI agent better than ChatGPT is the question. And it's one who has more data and more insights that is not public data about your property, about your business, that is actually going to be able to thoughtfully respond better. And
Yep.
so now when you look at anything, any sort of agent, the real question is like, do they own the data? If they do not own the data, then they're not going to be a good agent. You might as well just use ChatGPT for free. I mean, I use their paid version. You can use their free versions, but you might as well just use that, because the only way to actually have that value is for them to have the data of, okay, on the leasing side, let's just say someone inquires and says, what's the average utility bill for this property, right? If they can tap into the financials and say, oh, I see under utilities, here's what the average bills are. And based on permission settings, which permissions is a huge thing. That's actually what we talk about most with AI on at least our end. But if they can tap in and say, oh, we can thoughtfully respond to this, and tell them on average over the past 12 months, this is what it is. However, it's based on what your usage is. You're able to suddenly have AI act like a human, and probably better than maybe a leasing coordinator who wouldn't know to look into the utility records. And so I think one of the biggest things is data. And that's where we always come back to, well, we're just going to use MCP to actually combine, public data. So like the ChatGPTs of the world with all of our data. And then permissions is the most important thing of who can see and say what.
That's the wrinkle.
And then combine that together to actually be able to respond much more thoughtfully. And we have all the tables. We have the maintenance. We have the leasing. We have everything. But you'll just see it too often. Someone will say like, hey, I've got this agent who can handle your repairs. And it's like, well, if you don't own all the repair data and you don't own the PMS that all the data's in, how are they actually going to solve the real problems here and really understand the property and who's in the upstairs unit when there's a leak and all of this stuff? That's just, I think, so important when you're talking about labor and being able to respond thoughtfully.
No, this is exactly where it's going. And the last thing I'll say is you're absolutely right. The person who owns the data is going to be the winner, because again, there will be some aggregate free or nearly free solution like ChatGPT for, that domain, but it's the wrinkle or the domain expertise that's going to make your AI agent better. And frankly, if it hasn't happened already, I guarantee you it happens in the next 24 months. Somebody is going to reach out to Hemlane because you have the largest store of landlord data and try to license or whatever they're going to call that with you, because they're going to want that special sauce.
Yeah, it's actually interesting you say that. We've had some of the big tech companies here that are worth tens of billions of dollars reach out, because what they call it is there was a word they used for it, but it's basically like the real world, the built world data. And what's interesting for us is like, we don't actually sell any of our data, everything. We're very, even about securities within the system. Sometimes people are like, it's too restrictive. I added this person to my team, and we're like, yes, but you didn't add them with these permissions. That's why they can't do that. And so we very much kept that secure. But where we do think it is really valuable is for us to use that data to help you with tenant communication, maintenance, repairs, all of that. And we've even like with inspections is one of the things we're building in-house, because we used to say, great, there's so many inspection tools out there that you can use. But for us, we're saying, hey, there's always a build by partner question with anything. And for us, we go much more towards build, because if we build it, then we can structure the data for the AI agent to respond thoughtfully for you when you're doing turnovers and repair requests and all of this stuff. And so we've gone much more towards the build for that reason. And thanks to AI, it's made building a lot easier, where our engineers are now super engineers.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really fun to watch this, because again, I think at the end of the day, it is going to be about who has the data, and then who's using that well. And again, I fully expect it's already happening, right? I think ChatGPT did it with Reddit, right? There are people kind of, getting these big data lakes, data stores, and adding it to it. It's going to be it'll be a big push. Like, this won't be the last time you've been asked to license your data somehow, some way. And, that's going to be everybody's choice.
Yeah.
going forward. So, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see with pricing as well, because they always say if you use a free product, there's a lot of our competitors that's what they focus on, is selling the
Yep.
data, right? And
Sure. Of
so
course.
they always say that, like, if you are paying free, you are now the product. Your data, right, is now the product. And that's always resonated with me, especially for us, because we have, with all of that really secure stuff of yours
Yeah.
that is behind that paywall, in the sense of, like, we don't need to sell the data in order to keep the business running and keep the
You
lights
bring
on.
up an amazing point. And I don't know your space at all. I know you know it. I'm going to guess there's a player in your space that is free, or what seemingly is nearly free. And you got to ask yourself, right? If you're using that solution, how are they making money? I mean, that should just be a logical question, right? We're not here
Yeah.
for charity. So the
Yeah.
answer is they're
Keep the lights
selling the
on.
data to someone,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not. They got to pay the bills. They got employees, right? They're not going to just pay it out of the kindness of their heart. So I think that's a red flag to watch out for, right? If you're any solution, we're talking property management here, but it could be any solution. If you're using a free solution, you should know that, yeah, you're the data and you're being
Yeah.
sold somewhere, somehow.
Yep. Yeah. You are their product they are selling. So,
That is
yeah.
crazy. Yeah. So where do you think AI agents go? I think 2026, 27 is going to be the year of AI agents. This last year has really been about the models, but I think AI agents is going to come up in the next 12 to 24 months. That's where the focus will be. Or am I wrong?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think there's going to be phases with it. It's going to be sort of, we always have taken a very conservative approach. Even being here in San Francisco and Silicon Valley, we've been very conservative, because it's real estate, it's people, it's tenant landlord law. There's so much that goes into
Yeah.
our industry that is not on the consumer side, right? And some landlords think of it as not a business, but you really do need to, because of tenant landlord law, lawsuits, all of that. So on the AI side, we very much said, great, we use it, but you always have a human going through to review what the responses are. At some point, it's going to be good enough to say, great, let it rip. And these are the things that it can go and respond to. And here are the types of questions that you won't want it to respond to, and that you're going to want a human to respond to. And a lot of those are the EQ questions, or things that are much more complex, that can very quickly go into a spiral. And then I think the other big thing with it is, you need to be transparent. What is AI and what is a human? And I think there's some companies that want to, like, kind of trick you. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Blended. Yeah.
this is Jane responding to you, right? And you don't know when Jane is AI and when Jane is a human. I don't think that is a right way to do business. You definitely want to make sure that the responses are always, this is AI, now this is a human, and you
Right.
and you have that trust, because people will say, well, then if it's AI, people may not want to listen to it. I say, people want the answer. So actually, the aspirin thing is great. Like, they want the solution. So if the AI gives them the solution, they're not going to have a problem with that.
Not at all.
At least that's what we've seen. Why they do have problems with chat agents is the chat agent that they're talking to does not have the right data and cannot answer your question eloquently, and you feel like they're wasting your time.
Yeah, exactly right. Again, I think we're just on the come up of AI agents. Again, I will agree with your opening statement. This is the most interesting technology advancement since the internet. I'm even willing to go as far as to say it's bigger, and ultimately will be bigger than the internet. The internet was life-changing. There will be some hits and misses, no doubt. There will be hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars burned to zero, but there'll also be some amazing innovations. So it's going to be fun to watch from the sidelines.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, Dana. Where can people find you?
Yeah. So you can find me at Dana, DANA, at hemling.com. I do give out my email because I check every email. If you have any questions about AI, property management, any of those fun things, I love to talk about those topics. And then if you are looking to advertise your rental, so find a place, a tenant, do the day-to-day management, anything from rent collection to having someone pick up your repair calls and do all of your repair coordination. Head on over to hemline.com. We have everything from a free plan. We actually don't sell that data. So just so you know, we don't. It's much more of like try before you buy type thing. But we do have a free plan for you. And then we also have paid plans, which mention one rental at a time, because you do get 20% off your first year, which is our largest discount.
Dana, thank you so much. Thank you for being here each and every week. Like 3 or 4 years now we've been doing this. So always fun.
I know. I have so much fun every Thursday morning.
There you go. Take care.
Thanks so much.